In today's guided walking tour, we will visit the ancient city of Salisbury with its famous medieval cathedral. This is a guided walk with maps revealing the most important sites of the city. Salisbury is located about 2 hours southwest of London in the lovely county of Wiltshire, England. We start our tour in the oldest medieval street in Salisbury, which is Fish Row. This narrow alley and the adjacent Butcher Row were the centre of commerce in medieval times, filled with ancient medieval buildings. But not so many exist now, but it's still a pleasant alley to wander along with restaurants, boutiques and cafes. Fish Row leads immediately to Butcher Row, where the medieval alley continues, and so does our tour. On the right, the ancient Oxrow Inn, with its medieval cladding, the oldest surviving building in this alley. As we reach the end of the alley, we come across the iconic building in the city, which is the Poultry Cross. There was originally 3 other crosses like this back in medieval times, but this cross is the only one that survived through the centuries. It was used as a market stores selling poultry in medieval times. Let's retrace our steps briefly and turn down a narrow alley and stopping to admire the 2 Tudor timbered frame buildings which lead into Canal Street. Once in Canal Street, look up for the Tudor buildings in the top floor above Boots.
This bit here.
At the junction of Canal Street and High Street, let's now turn left into the High Street and head westwards. The High Street of Salisbury is the main thoroughfare, now mainly pedestrianised and in summertime a hive of activity with street festivals and open-air coffee shops and cafes, a popular place to hang out and meet. The most notable building is the entrance to Old George Mill, a fabulous example of medieval architecture and is beautifully preserved, the oldest building in the street. Let's continue the tour along the High Street towards the High Street Gate leading to the Cathedral Close. As we approach the High Street Gate, there are some of the finest preserved medieval buildings in the town. This is a lovely stretch of the street. For a little treat, stop by the fudge shop, and perhaps have a bit of the fudge version of Stonehenge. The High Street Gate, one of the original medieval entrances to the Cathedral Close, was built in the 14th century and guarded the entrance to the close and housed a local lockup for misdeeds done in the grounds of the Cathedral Close. And now, entering into the close, we go by the College of Matrons on the left-hand side. This part of the close is full of the grandest of buildings to house the clergy and the various religious members. The largest of the houses is Montpesson House, an 18th century townhouse now owned by the National Trust. Let's now approach the main crown jewel attraction of the city, the medieval cathedral. This is surrounded by the largest cathedral close in the country. The west face of the cathedral is one of the finest decorated of all cathedrals in Europe. And this cathedral has the highest spire in the country at over 400 feet high. The Gothic Cathedral is not unfortunately free to enter and currently costs £9 in 2024. However, it's worth the entry cost to see the beautiful interior and the famous Magna Carta documents. But it's possible to access the cloisters of the cathedral for free. Now, these cloisters are one of the largest in the country and really quite beautiful. There is also an impressive view of the cathedral that is not quite so well known, but we're going to reveal it to you today. Let's now retrace our steps back out of the close and through the High Street Gate and back along the High Street. But this time we're going to turn left into Fishton Street. We're now going to cross over the road and head towards Bishop's Mill. This has now been converted into an eatery, pub and flats, but this medieval mill was once key to providing grain to the city in Tudor times, and it's now just a popular and relaxing place to hang out, have some food and meet friends. Go through the mill to the other side for an attractive view of the river. And the workings of the mill. And then turn to the right and follow the alley back to St. Thomas's Church. But turn left at the church and follow the little path around the garden behind the church until you get towards the main Salisbury Library. Head over to the marketplace, to the rows of pubs and cafes on the far side to the right of the Guildhall. This is Ox Row, with a line of attractive and beautiful Tudor and medieval buildings, including the ancient Ox Row Inn. We are nearly at the end of our tour and close to our starting point. Head towards the Guildhall on the far side of the marketplace. This is now the central hub of the city, with various events and even a little cafe. Now head over to the medieval buildings near the Guildhall. These buildings, especially the Cross Key building, are one of the best preserved medieval buildings in the part of the city. This brings us to the end of this circular tour of Salisbury, and you're now back at Fish Row where we started. We hope you enjoyed this guided walking tour of Salisbury, and hope to see you again on another tour with Cinematic Travels.